Okay, so Module 10 is basic rigging now. So before we actually get started with basic rigging, with the whole skeletal framework of your models, we need to learn a couple of things before that. Now, so the things that we need to learn first is number one is parenting, yung parenting in 3D, no? And then number two is how to change our pivot points. So we'll be covering that naman. And after that, after we cover those two topics, we'll be covering basic rigging. Now, we won't be doing very complex rigs. We won't be doing any sort of character rigging. We're only going to be making a basic FK and a basic IK rig, no? Using armatures or bones natin, for both 3ds Max and Blender. So I'm gonna save all the trouble. I'm not gonna explaining what rigging is at this point in time. You already know what rigging is. You probably encountered it already sa mga research nyo. Okay? So our first topic that we need to learn is, like I said, is parenting. No? Parenting in the sense na it's literally the same concept as IRL parenting. No? Where the parent basically controls every major decision ng isang child, no, where but the child still has enough freedom to do whatever it wants, no. But when it comes to major decisions, where in the case of 3D softwares, movement, scaling and rotation, ang mauuna palagi dito si parent, no. Siya palagi ang masusunod. So in this case, bakit relevant yung parenting sa ating rigging, no? In a sense kasi, parenting is a basic start na rin halos sa process ng whole rigging. Sa rigging kasi, we have a process called skinning where we basically apply our rig or our skeletal structure for our model and then apply it to our model. That's the whole process, no? It's literally the same concept na rin when it comes to parenting. It's literally that na rin, ano? We're basically parenting, we're basically parenting our models to our bones, no? Kasi ang magiging parent natin sa whole process na yon is the bone itself, not the actual model. Kasi yung bone yung kokontrolin natin. Just like how our real body works, no? We can't exactly control our muscles at will, ano? Kasi behind all that meat and chunks sa sa katawan natin are our bones, which holds things together for our whole body, no? So let's get started, no? So I'll be discussing Blender first, and then after that, I'm going to be discussing 3ds Max. Okay. So when it comes to rigging, this will be in two parts. The part one will be Blender, and then the next part is going to be 3ds Max. So for starters, I'm going to be using Blender first because it's pretty easy and less time consuming, really. So I already have here a scene already. No, I already have created a scene for this specific module. So our first topic is, like I said, is going to be parenting. So let's say here, let's say this is a basic mechanical arm, no? So when in the case of like a mechanical arm, we already know na very systematic yung movements sila, lahat is everything is well coordinated. So what I want here is this one right here will be the upper arm, and then this one is going to be the lower arm, and then ito yung parang yung hinge, no, that controls these two together, no, para rotate sila. So what I want, this one, since this is going to be the upper arm where it's going to be connected to like a base or like a mechanical torso, I will choose this one as my parent for these two, no? So what I'm gonna do is, to parent in Blender, first, you're gonna select the children, yung mga parts na ikakabit mo sa parent, or sa magiging main object mo. So, in this case, it's going to be these two right here, no? So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work with I'm gonna work one by one here. So I'm gonna start with this hinge first. So I'm gonna parent it here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this hinge, and then I'm gonna press shift and then left click. Let me just turn on my screencast. So again, select my children first, and then my parent, and then I'm going to press Control P. I'm in object mode, by the way. So there we go. So once you press Control P, you're gonna see this window, no? So it says set parent to. We're just gonna select set parent to object. So as you can see here, if I try to move this specific cube or this specific part now, the hinge follows along kasi naka-parent na siya because look at my outliner. It's literally under na siya. Under na siya ng thing ko dito, no? So, literally any sort of movement, major movements that I do here, like for example, movement and then scaling and then rotation, the hinge follows along kasi child siya ng parent, no? Next one is let's parent this one right here. We can use so basically nag-i-stack lang naman tayo dito yan, no? So literally, we can use this one as a parent then, no? Kahit naging children na siya ng object na to. So we can still use this as a parent then because like I said, this is literally like stacking things together lang naman, ano? So we're gonna be setting this one as a parent next, and then this one is going to be the child because what I want, every time that this one moves as well, susunod din tong part natin dito, no? So what I'm gonna do is literally repeat the exact same thing. First, select ko muna to, and then press and hold shift, left click dun sa parent, and then control P, and then set parent to object. So every time that I move this one, there we go, it's moving along. And then since itong dalawang objects natin dito, it's literally all under this object right here, itong first cube natin, itong upper arm natin dito. If I try to move this one, everything follows along with it, no? So it's pretty convenient, no? It's already a basic start of rigging, but it's not exactly rigging just yet, no? Kasi may kulang pa to kulang pa to. Because if I try to rotate this, no, I'm gonna try to rotate this like how I would want it to look when it's rotating. It's not really right, no? Parang weird niya. Usually dapat pag magro-rotate tayo, dahil na itong part natin dito is naka-connect dito sa certain portion natin dito siya dapat magro-rotate. Same goes with this area right here. So, paano natin aayusin yon? Dito na ngayon papasok si pivot points, no? Si pivot points or origin tinatawag natin sa Blender. But in technical terms, it's what we call our pivot points, no? So, as the name suggests, it's the point in space that defines the mathematical center of the object for rotation and scaling. This is where the program you are using gathers the location and transformation data of an object. So setting up proper pivot points is important. It's actually very key na rin, ano? Because parenting and pivot points, when you combine those two together, you can literally make a makeshift rig already, no? So I'll explain what I mean right here, no? So let's say, for this part right here, ito muna unahin ko because like I said already kanina, gusto ko mag-rotate siya into this certain portion already. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to my front face. Actually, let me hide this one first because that's gonna be my example for later. And then, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to wireframe mode para madali ko makita. No? Para madali ko makita kung saan ko dapat ilalagay yung pivot point ko. So, currently, every time that we select our object, we're just gonna see this gizmo right here. It's actually our pivot point, no? Yung pivot point natin is that orange dot right here, no? So, kapag nakikita niyo yung orange dot na yun, that is your pivot point. Doon siya magro-rotate, doon siya mag-i-scale, doon siya gagalaw, no? Doon yung kinukuha lahat ng data ng ating mga transforms, no? Ni Blender. So, what I want this origin point, itong part natin dito is literally around this area. Now, we have two options right here. Actually, before Blender 3.0, it's only one option and it's very, very tedious. So, yun ang unahin muna natin. So, yung first option natin, which is the tedious part, is using our 3D cursor. Ito, itong 3D cursor natin. Gagamitin natin yan. And then, we're gonna be setting it or basically placing it to where we want. Pero sobrang hassle din ito, no? And sobrang inaccurate. So, paano natin maging accurate tong part natin dito, no? So, for something like this, you definitely want you need a couple of things. Number one, you definitely want an empty object. So let me just spawn a empty object. So I'm gonna click Shift A. I'm gonna select an empty. I'm just gonna use this plain access, and then itatapat ko lang tong empty object ko na to wherever I want to place my my pivot point, no? So let's say dito ko nga siya ilalagay, di ba? So I'm gonna place it somewhere around that area, no? So I'm gonna place it right there, no? So literally dito siya. Doon siya gusto kong mag-rotate. So what I'm gonna do next is select my empty. I'm gonna select my empty, and then I'm going to press Shift S to open my snapping menu. Itong hold and shift S to. Hold shift and S. No? Hold shift and then S. And then hold it down. And then you have a bunch of selections here. So what gagawin natin, while the empty is selected, we're going to select this one. Cursor to selected para mapunta yung 3D cursor natin dun sa origin point ng ano natin ng empty object, no? Mapupunta siya dun sa origin point or dun sa pivot point ng ating empty object right here. So, mangyayari na ngayon, since now that our pivot point is already set there, we're gonna select our object back again. And then what we're gonna do is right-click tayo and then set origin to 3D cursor. And then manonotice nyo na wala na yung orange dot natin dito, napunta na siya dito sa area natin. And then, see what happens when I try to rotate, doon na siya nagro-rotate, no? And then, after that, pwede na natin i-hide tong empty natin because we have no need for that. And then, tong 3D cursor natin, for better workflow, balik na natin siya sa world origin. So, again, Shift S, cursor to world origin. Then, there we go. Naset na natin yung cursor natin to this specific area, no? Sobrang tedious, no? Sobrang haba. That used to be the original way, no? But since Blender 3.0, meron na tayong bagong function. So, ang gagawin ko, I'm going to reset this one. I'm going to set it back to center. So, segue din tayo doon. So, we can basically let Blender calculate where the center of this object is and doon natin ilalagay yung origin point natin or yung pivot point natin. So, again, select natin tong object natin dito. Right-click, set origin, and then origin to geometry. It will always be here, nasa ano natin. Kakalculate niya kung nasaan yung pinaka-center point ng object nyo, sinelect nyo. So, what is our second option? Which is actually the most preferred way, no? Because it's very, very nice na rin. And it's very similar na rin to 3ds Max. So, in object mode, we're gonna select our object first, no? Select muna natin yan. And then, of course, gagawin na natin tong, punta tayo sa top right, dito sa options. Click natin to. And then it says here, transform. And then we have a bunch of selection here. Meron tayong affect only origins, locations, and parents. So, select lang natin tong origin. And then magpa-pop up tong gizmo natin dito. Similar to what 3ds Max is given you when you're trying to affect your pivot point. So, that way, if I try to move this na, I just literally press this one sa toolbar ko. When I try to move it, hindi gumagalaw yung object ko. Gumagalaw lang yung origin point ko. No? So, that way, pwede ko na siyang i-place ko dito, no? I can just precisely place it there without even altering kung yung height ko dito. Literally, nakalock lang sa x-axis and then I move it there, no? And then, once we're done setting up our pivot point, balik lang tayo dito sa options. And then, uncheck lang ulit natin tong C, origins. And then, there we go. Nandun na yung pivot point natin, no? So, it's really quick na ngayon, no, compared to the original na yung first option natin, no. So literally, ito na marirecommend ko. Not unless you have literally certain specific areas. Yes, meron definitely may use din yung method na binigay ko by using an empty and of course using the 3D cursor. It's going to be completely up to you how well you use it. So there we go. That is our pivot point changing methods. So, I'm just going, so, pwede na natin ito to, no? Balik tayo sa solid mode. And then, what we're gonna do next, try natin, tingnan, ano? So, there we go. Now, for this one, okay na ako dito, eh. This already looks really nice. So, then, this one right here, literally, it's already a basic rig already if I try to keep rotating it, no? And then, this one, if I try to rotate it. Now, this one, medyo iffy pa to, no? Medyo iffy tong part natin dito, no? Because literally, pwede kong ilagay din siya, ano dito. Pwede rin naman dito to, sa part natin dito, pwede rin natin siyang ilagay din dito. But, that's going to be, sige na, i-demo ko na rin para, ano, I'm just gonna change the pivot point again, no? So, konting recap ulit tayo on how to change our pivot point, no? So, literally, I'm just gonna place it right here, no? Para pareho siya ng orientation dito sa part ko dito. I'm just gonna move it. Oops, not this one. Make sure select natin to. Kasi ito nga pala. So ito na yung problem nga pala natin that I forgot to mention, no? see what happens dito sa ano ko, solid mode ko when I try to change the pivot point when this thing is parented, no? So, kailangan tatanggalin na muna natin tong child natin dito para mabago natin yung pivot point natin because as you can see already dito sa part natin dito, tinatangay siya ng ano ko, no? Tinatangay siya ng part ko dito, no? So preferably when you're gonna be changing your pivot points, when you're gonna be changing your pivot points and then of course parenting, unahin niyo muna yung pag-change ng pivot points nyo before you actually parent stuff because you're gonna encounter something like this, no? Kasi at this point in time, literally, it's a bit buggy pa rin naman tong part natin dito kasi tinatangay pa rin niya yung dito ko. So, ayun, nakakonect pa rin siya dito. I can just try and delete that. Oops. Itong part ko dito, may mali ito. Mali. Let me just Control Z. Mali pala ako ng natangay. Okay, so this cube 3, what I want is cube 2. Mali pala ako natanggal. So, tanggalin ko lang to sa cube 2. And then, for this one, no, ganun pa rin siya. So, bakit? Because, try ko nga, delete hierarchy, okay. Mali. Okay, so, what we're gonna do is, delete hierarchy ko na lang yon. Whatever. So, actually, no, hindi ko na demo because masyado ng tedious to. And I'm taking up way too much time already. So, I'm gonna let the rig solve this one for me na, no? Kasi, like I said, itong parenting and pag-change natin mga pivot points, this is already like a super duper basic makeshift rig na rin to. Because like I said, I think you already pretty much get the gist of it already, no? By simply changing the pivot points and having the proper children to the right parent, literally, you can move things systematically naman na, no? So, knowing those two together na, knowing what parenting and pivot points are, I think it's a perfect time na to start how we do a rig, no? So, we pretty much know what a rig is already, no? It's literally the skeletal structure ng isang ng isang model, no? But we have to know what the parts of a rig is. Literally, isa lang naman yung part ng isang rig. It's literally the bones, no? For the most part. So, bones lang naman ang halos nagpo-function sa buong rig natin. So, bones, as the name suggests, are bones for your 3D model. This is the most basic type of rig to move your model. By adding bones, you're giving data when it comes to articulation. And once everything is all set, you will proceed to skinning, yung sinasabi ko nga kanina, no? Or applying the bones to your model. So, creating bones sa Blender, it's actually fairly easy, no? It's just as simple lang sa ano natin. It's just as simple as adding a normal object. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Shift-A and then punta ako sa armature and then single bone. For this one, baka may iba to sa inyo because right now I have a add-on installed called Rigify. So, usually hindi nyo makikita tong drop-down na to. Isa-select nyo lang tong armature natin. Automatic, ibibigay lang sa iyo is yung single bone. So, what I'm gonna do is armature, single bone lang ako dyan. And then there we go. So, this part right here, this is already our bone. Okay? Now, paano yung proper orientation for this one? Ano? Kasi meron tayong proper orientation dito. So usually, etong part natin dito, this part right here, etong part natin dito magko-connect yung next bone natin, no? And then this one connects to whatever it is. And usually ito yung magiging last portion or magiging ano natin ito yung magko-connect sa isang bone pa, no? This will be the starting point of another bone. This one is going to be the end point of a bone. Okay? So, preferably when you're gonna be adding your rig, no, by adding yung mga bones nga natin, you definitely would want to work in wireframe mode para mas madali nyo makita yung ano nyo, yung rig nyo, no, yung model nyo pala. So what we're gonna do, since we're wireframe mode, nakikita nga natin yung geometry natin, matatansya natin kung saan natin gustong ilagay yung mga bones natin o saan natin gustong mag-rotate yung mga bones natin. Now, right here, so ang gagawin natin, I want this part right here, I want it to start somewhere around here. So, lalagay ko lang siya somewhere here, no? And then, I'm going to rotate it at a negative, okay. So, I'm gonna rotate it at 90 degrees, okay. Negative ko lang siya, baliktad. And then, there we go. Oops. So, negative 90. And then, there we go. Enter ko lang siya. So, what I'm gonna do next, now naka-align na tong bone ko dito sa makeshift na model ko dito, itong mechanical arm ko dito, I'm just going to be adding bones na. To do that, it's like editing any other object, no? So, we're gonna go to edit mode by pressing tab. So, right here, no? Once we've gone to edit mode, notice natin, broken up into parts siya. Meron siya ball joint, meron din tong actual bone itself. Now, to start adding our bones, dito tayo magi-start sa mga ball joints, no? We're always going to be starting here. So, what we're gonna do, first, i-align, since this like I said, no, mechanical arm to, alam natin, 3 simple rotations lang siya. Isang rotate dito, and then rotate dito. No? So, that's pretty much it. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to repeat exactly yung sa natin, sa pinag-practicean natin kanina with the parenting and changing of pivot points. So, I'm going to position my first ball joint right here, somewhere around this area. No? So, take note lang yung natin, you're gonna want to align the tip, not the actual ball joint. Yung tip mismo ng bone natin to wherever you want it, no, to rotate. So, I'm just gonna place it right around here. And then, next natin dito is we're gonna add a bone right here because like I said, gusto ko magkaroon din ng rotation in between these two, no? So, what I'm gonna do is to add the new bone is first select nyo muna yung ball joint and then press lang natin E to extrude, no? So, extruding lang tayo basically. And then I'm gonna lock it to my x-axis again by pressing X. And then, i-align ko naman siya somewhere around here. Okay? So, next is dito na tayo sa last part natin. So, I'm just gonna add my last bone right here because I would want another rotation right here. And then, itatapat ko lang tong tip ko dito. Sa final part ng natin, ng model ko. So, yon somewhere around here. Then, there we go. So, there is our first rig. But, actually, hindi pa tayo tapos, no? Meron pa tayong kailangan na idagdag. And, yung idadagdag natin dito is actually, it's actually going to be used for another rig that we are going to make. Because, when it comes to rigging, there are literally 2 kinds. FK and IK. So, FK is called forward kinematics. So, ano ba yung forward kinematics? Literally, ang forward kinematics natin, if I try to move yung bone natin dito, itong rig natin dito, and then I'm gonna go to my pose mode, ito, or yung shortcut natin is Control Tab. If I try to move it, and then, once I try to rotate my bones, literally, this is what FK is, no? Forward kinematics basic, rotations lang tayo, basic movements. That is basically what forward kinematics is. So as you can see right here, no, I'm playing around with it. Tama naman na yung rig ko dito, no. Ganito yung gusto kong maging rig kasi ganito yung iniisip ko na itsurang movement for my model right here, no. So that is FK, no. So, and then of course yun nga, functioning na tong rig natin dito. So what we're gonna do next is we're going to be adding something to basically ready any sort of FK rig into an IK rig. Now, yung IK rig will be covering that in a little bit. So, prep work muna tayo dito. So, we're gonna go back to our object mode by pressing Control Tab again. And then, we're gonna press Tab and go back to edit mode. So, ang gagawin natin dito, to basically prep your rig for a basic IK, kailangan natin ng control knob. So, ano ba yung control knob? Control knob is literally a bone lang naman, ano? It's literally a bone, but it's going to be used as a controller that when you try to move it, all the bones that nakakonect doon, which is tong tatlo na to, gagalaw siya accordingly to where you move it. No, that's the basic concept of IK rig. So, gagawin natin, select muna natin tong ball joint natin dito because I literally, para hindi ko na kailangan i-reattach pa. So, diretso ko na dito lalagay yung bone ko. So, ang gagawin muna natin is, since if I try to add a bone by pressing Shift A, dito magi-spawn yung bone. And I don't want that. Gusto ko dito sa part natin dito. So, we're basically going back to the snap selection natin. So, select ko lang tong ball joint. Press and hold Shift S. And then, select natin tong cursor to selected. No? If you remember still. Since nandyan na yung nandun na yung yung cursor natin, we're just going to be adding our bone by pressing Shift A. I'm still in edit mode, by the way. So, there we go. Andyan na yung bone natin. Now, preferably for something like this, it's mainly my preference lang naman. But you can still stay with this position naman. But for me, I always align it accordingly kung I always align it to the same orientation ng rig ko, no. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to edit this one. No, I'm just gonna edit this one. I'm going ko lang snap, naka-vertex select up, vertex snapping ako. And then just gonna align it here, no. And then there we go. That is our knob. Now that is our control knob and gagamitin natin yan for later. So, there we go. That is our FK rig with ready for IK na FK rig natin, no. So that's literally it. Now, ang gagawin na lang natin ngayon is we want to apply this one to our model, no. So of course, number one step natin dito, since hindi naka-align tong rig ko dito sa model ko, definitely for something, itong ginagawa ko ngayon, this is a bit taboo. For if you want to rig something, much better na nasa center yung object nyo para hindi nyo na kailangan galawin. Hindi kayo mahihirapan sa pag-reorient ng mga models nyo, no? So, for something like this is a bit taboo. You don't want to do this. So, ang gagawin natin, as I'm going to place my rig na lang dito sa model ko, no? So, I'm gonna press G and then go to Y para move ko lang siya somewhere dito sa gitna. Okay lang naman. Roughly lang naman sa gitna. That's okay. Lagay lang natin siya dyan. And then, tama naman na sa height natin dito. So, that's going to be okay. Alright? So, for something like this, itong model natin dito, since ang ginawa natin na rig dito is an FK, no, or forward kinematics na rig, we have a different approach to do on this one, ano. We have a different approach. So ang gagawin natin dito is basic parenting tayo dito, or yung traditional na skinning natin, no. Yung traditional na skinning where we basically parent the model to the bone, no. So to do that, this is actually a bit a tedious task sa Blender. No? So, first ang gagawin natin is we have to select kung ano yung unahin natin. No? So, let's say unahin na muna natin itong part natin dito. This is the easiest one. Mas madaling ma-access natin. So, ang gagawin natin is first select natin yung object and then we're gonna hold shift, left click dito tayo sa rig. Now, ang gagawin natin ngayon is we're gonna go to our pose mode. No? So, control tab. Okay? So, currently, nakaselect tong ko dito, no? Kasi ito yung last na operation na ginawa ko. So, I'm just going to deselect it. Hold shift, press left click lang ako dito para matanggal yung selection na yun. Kaya currently, makikita nyo to, no? Kasi ito yung una natin sinelect, itong box natin dito. It's still currently active, no? So, that's good. That's a good sign, no? Kapag hindi red yung object dito, kung saan natin i-apply yung bone na gusto natin, redo step 1, which is basically selecting this one first and then your armature and then control tab to go to pose mode. But since this one is already highlighted, ang gagawin ko na lang is press and hold shift and then select ko yung bone na i-attach ko dito sa model na to. So, I'm gonna press and hold shift, select ko tong bone na to. Alright. And then, once that's selected, I'm going to press Control P. Control P to parent. Now, dito na tayo, no? Since yung inuna natin na process kanina sa basic parenting is set parent to object, dito naman, ang isa-select natin dito for a basic FK rig, no? We're gonna be selecting bone, no? Select natin tong bone. So, set parent to bone. Kasi yun nga yung magiging parent natin. And then there we go. That's basically the whole process na. So, when I try to move this one, when I try to rotate it, there we go. No? It's moving along. Now, to further prove na, yun nga, no? I just selected out the scene para ma-deselect tong cube ko. I'm just gonna select it again. There we go. It's moving accordingly, no? So, tama na yung process natin. And then, we're just going to repeat it, the exact same thing dito sa next two, no? So, again, babalik tayo ng object mode by pressing Control Tab. This one muna. Ito muna select natin. And then, select ko tong armature ko. I'm gonna go to pose mode, Control Tab. Naka-select yun. Just make sure na yung isa-select nyo lang dito sa pose mode is yung bone na ipe-parent nyo, no? Yung bone na magiging parent nyo, no? So, there we go. I'm gonna select this one. Control P to bone. Gonna check if gumana siya. So, yun, there we go. Gumagana siya. Is this one still working? There we go. It's still working. So, it works, no? So last na lang tayo. Balik tayo sa object mode. Then this one right here is going to be the last. Select my armature. Control tab to pose mode. Make sure walang naka-select na bone. Ito lang sa select ko. Hold shift, left click, control P, and then bone. And then there we go. So now we have officially finished our rig, no? There we go. It's moving accordingly na, no? So I'm just gonna go back to solid. There we go, no? So try to move it right there. Yeah, it's really, really nice na, no? So there we go. It's working accordingly to what I envisioned. So there we go. That is basic rigging, no? But notice nyo kanina from the start, I have another model right here, no? Because there's another way of adding adding our rig, our rig or our bones pala, no? So what we're gonna do next is an introduction na rin to a basic IK rig, no? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a rig to this one right here. So this array lang dito. And then I'm gonna go to my top view. So I didn't state this earlier kanina, but when you're gonna be working in a rig, ang sinabi ko lang kanina is preferably yung object nyo is naka-center and then you're gonna work from the center. Another tip din na masasabi ko is you work at a specific orientation para hindi kayo mahirapan sa pag-align ng mga bones nyo, no? So usually, makikita nyo kanina, nag-start ako sa front view. Now, this time, I'm gonna be doing it sa top view naman, no? So, what works sa model nyo, kung what works dun sa current form ng model nyo, dun kayo mag-work. So, kung for example, kung parang chicken leg yung imo-model nyo, preferably, siguro, naka-right side view kayo kung dun nakaharap yung parang form ng chicken leg, no? So, it's a case-to-case scenario naman, no? So, back to here. So, I have this simple array lang naman. And then I'm gonna add a armature single bone, okay? So back here, yan ako muna to, hide ko naman to. Wait, let me just hide everything here. Teka. Let me just hide everything. Okay. So what we're gonna do next is this one right here, no? So there we go. And reorient ko lang to because literally pag ganito yung rig ko, itong model ko, no? So I'm just gonna rotate it again. Negative 90 or 90, depende sa model nyo. And then what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go to edit mode, and then this time, diretso ko lang to hanggang dito sa part ko dito. I'm just gonna place it right there, no? Naka-auto-snap naman ako, and then there we go. Doon siya, nag-snap, no? So, paano to, no? Because definitely for something like this, I want it to be like a very, sort of like slinky type of, na model, no? Or parang tentacle-like, no? Mechanical tentacle. So, paano natin gagawin yon? So, usually, for something like this, no? For something a bit more organic, definitely, for example nga, yung mga tentacles or yung mga tail, no? Or sa mga hair, usually, you definitely want a lot of bones for this one. Now, si Blender, meron siyang function dito na pwedeng tumulong sa atin dito, no? So, what we're gonna do is, muna tayo dito sa edit mode. Oops. Okay, there we go. Select lang natin siya. So, select natin yung armature natin and then press tayo tab to go to edit mode. Select natin itong itong bone natin dito. And then we're gonna right click. We're gonna just click subdivide. And then there we go. Nag-subdivide siya, no? And then we can just alter number of cuts natin dito, no? To determine how much bones we can add. Now, maximum niya currently is 10, no? But you can literally press Shift R naman ulit to add more bones if you want. But I think that's a little bit too much. I think 10 is more than enough now for this one, no? So there we go, no? So it's an easy little trick for specific models, no? For certain organic models. So there's our rig, no? Kulang na lang natin dito is our IK knob or yung control knob natin dito. So again, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift A to add my control knob, and then properly orient ko lang to. Then, there we go. Alright. So, there's our control knob. Now, palitan ko lang ito konti. There we go. Kasi, hindi na magiging controller pa to. So, ang gagawin ko next is, I want to apply this one to here, no? Pero ang problem natin dito, this is one object, no? Compared dun sa model natin kanina na by parts, no? compare natin dito sa model kanina na by parts siya. So, paano natin gagawin dito? So, instead of the basic na natin, yung traditional skinning natin dito, we're gonna be using automatic weights, no? Now, yung automatic weights, this is mainly used for organic na mga models natin where kapag may mga curve tayo, usually you're gonna want automatic weights for this one. We're not gonna be discussing weight painting kasi that's a little bit more complex na. So we're just gonna be using automatic weights. But for automatic weights, usually naman for Blender, very very good yung calculations niya when it comes to projecting yung mga weights natin kung saan magiging tama yung bends, no? So literally the only challenge here will be where you place your rig, no? Yung mga bones natin. So what we're gonna do next is first literally is the same method din kanina. First select muna natin yung model natin and we're gonna parent it to the armature. But this time diretso armature na tayo. Hindi na tayo pupuntang post mode, diretso na kagad tayong control P, no? And then this time, instead na set parent to bone, we're gonna be selecting set parent to with so armature deform and then this one with automatic weights. So select lang natin yan. Then there we go. So I'm going to select my armature, see if it works, no? So then control tab. Let's just try to move some things. There we go. It's moving, but it's not that great, no? Because for something like this, itong ganitong sort of organic look na na model natin, we're gonna be using an IK rig, no? On IK system na nga natin. So dito na ngayon papasok si control knob, no? So dito si control knob, we're gonna be using this one as our controller for the whole rig, no? As I've stated before. So gagawin natin, select natin si control knob first and then we're gonna select the last portion ng rig natin dito, which is going to be this tip right here, no? So always going to be the last one, no? So press and hold shift and then shift I tayo to add an IK rig, no? Or an IK system and then to active bone. And then there we go. Ganun lang siya. Ganun lang kadali. So when I try to move this, turn off ko lang yung snap ko. There we go. It's much more reactive than kanina, no? There we go. That is an IK rig, no? So literally you can already make a tail for this one, ano? Parang tail nga na natin or parang slinky, no? This is also a good way then to place like certain mga vents, no, na may mga certain curves. Literally marami kayong application na magagawa sa rig natin dito, no? So try naman natin i-apply natin dito sa kabila. So we're gonna go to control control tab to go to object mode. Dito naman tayo sa kabila, no? And then we're gonna go to where is it? Ito ba yan? Ito yan. Ito. So we're going to ito ba yun? Okay, so control tab again. Since di natin makita yung rig natin dito, we're gonna go to wireframe. Select natin control knob, press and hold shift to this one, and then press shift I to active bone. And then try to move it. There we go. It's working accordingly. No? So there we go. Ganun lang siya kadali, no? And then literally you can animate this naman na, no? It works just like any other object, no? You can literally just place a keyframe right here. And then lagyan natin location. And then somewhere around frame 30, it's gonna move somewhere around here. Press I, location ulit. There we go. It's moving accordingly, no? It's bending. So there we go. It acts just like any other object when it comes to animating. No? Definitely, you're gonna want to edit things outside no graph editor, but that's going to be your artistic preference naman na. So there we go. That is rigging 101 for Blender. Okay, so for 3ds Max, it's actually just as simple rin naman sa natin sa Blender, no? They're actually equal in difficulty, no? So walang umaangat dito. I guess in terms of tediousness, I guess slightly tedious a bit si 3ds Max compared to Blender. Slightly lang naman, but it's not that much big of a difference, no? So for 3ds Max naman, I literally have the exact same two models right here, no? So we're gonna be applying the exact same methods right here, no? So unahin muna natin is yung parenting nga, no? Parenting and changing of pivots, no? So, first natin is literally parenting. I already have this part right here. And then this example right here. This is a basic array nga natin, no? This is a basic array. And then naka-parent yung mga parts na dito to this one, no? So, let's practice parenting dito, no? So, just like sa 3ds Max natin, first, iselect muna natin yung mga child, no? Children natin. Select muna natin yung children. I'm going to be doing the exact same method na ginawa natin kanina. So, ito yung child na ito. Ito yung child ng parent na to. And then, ito yung child ng parent na to. So, this one first. And then, dito sa Scene Explorer ko, kapag wala kayong Scene Explorer, click on Tools. Select nyo lang tong Scene Explorer. Okay? So, dito, select nyo muna yung child. And then, we're gonna be selecting this one. Itong icon natin dito. It says here, pick parent, no? So, click natin yan. And then, click natin tong parent natin. And then, there we go, no? So, literally, it's moving the exact same sa natin dito sa parent, no? There we go. But, it still has its own freedom, okay? And then, dito rin, we're gonna parent this one to this one. Select natin to, pick parent, click natin naman to. And then, there we go. It's literally stacking on top of each other, just like sa Blender, no? So, if I try to move this one, it all moves accordingly. Next is how we change our pivot points. Because currently, just like sa sa Blender natin, ito yung, ito yung pivot point natin. Wala tayong naka-display. Ang naka-display lang palagi dito is yung gizmo natin dito, which indicates yung X, Y, and Z natin. So, that's literally it naman, ano? That's literally it. So, what we want is we want to change this pivot point right here, similar to what we did dun sa Blender, no? So, I'm gonna position it somewhere around here, no? Now, the only way to do that is dito sa sa properties panel natin dito, select natin tong third one right here, which is the hierarchy, itong parang flowchart looking na icon, no? Select natin yan. And then, while the object is selected, na gusto natin ibahin yung pivot point, make sure na nakaselect tong pivot natin to, of course, to that one, ano? And then, select natin tong affect pivot only. And then, just like dun sa Blender, no? Nagdagdag siya ng panibagong gizmo right here that indicates us na pwede na natin siyang palitan yung pivot point. So what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna move it somewhere around here, no? And then if you want to snap it to some things, it works just like any other object naman, ano? So you can enable snap kung gusto nyong dito sa surface natin siya ilagay. So it's going to be completely up to you. But for me, it's going to be right here, no? So, there we go. And then, to basically disable this naman na kapag tapos na tayo, let's say tapos na tayo dito, we can just click on Affect Pivot Only. No? Click lang natin to ulit. And then there we go. Nandun na yung panibagong pivot point natin. And then this one, we can move it right here naman. Kasi mas maganda yung natin dito. Yung pivot point natin dito. Somewhere around here. And then for this one, gusto ko somewhere dito siya sa gitna para mas malinis tingnan. No? So, I'm just gonna turn on my snap. And then, I'm going to, lagyan natin yung, where is it? Midpoint. There we go. Click natin tong midpoint. And then, we're just gonna snap it somewhere around here. And then, there we go. Affect pivot only. Check natin. Okay. So, ito pa yung mga parts natin na inaano natin kanina, no? So, we're gonna be fixing that, in a GIF lang, no? So, madali lang naman to. So, we're just going to hide all of these lang. Hide lang muna natin to. And then, let's work with here, no? So, adjust ulit natin yung, yung affect natin, yung pivot natin dito. Let's say, it's going to be around here. And then, for this one right here, it's going to set it right here, no? And then, for this one, ano ba dito? Okay, nandito pala siya. We can probably just set it there. There we go. So, affect pivot only. Para ma-disable. There we go. Tapos na yung pag-change natin ng pivot, no? And just like sa Blender, where we can automatically assign the pivot point dun sa calculated center ng software ng object na yun, ano? So we can literally just click natin yung object and then click natin tong affect pivot only. And then, instead of manually moving it, we can just literally click center to object. Okay? So, but we're not gonna do that because maganda na yung itsura ng natin dito. Itong pivots natin dito. So, let's just try to rotate things if it looks right. no? So literally, we already did the exact same method dun sa ginawa natin sa rig natin kanina, no? So, like I said, this is already a makeshift rig na rin, ano? Literally, kung ayaw nyo mag-rig dito, pwede nyo gawin na lang to, no? Because literally, they just work like any other object and then you can animate it, no? But, that's not where we came, that's not what we came for, no? So, kailangan natin lagyan ng rig, no? So, to do that, of course, number one, maglalagay tayo ng actual rig natin, ano. So what we're gonna do next is punta lang ako sa front view or to a specific orientation kung saan ko mag-start gumawa ng bones, no. So punta tayo dito sa plus icon, itong create tab natin dito. And then pupunta tayo dito sa last na icon natin dito, itong systems, no. So click natin 'yan and then we're gonna go here dito sa bones, no. Click lang natin 'yan. And then, it's just like any sort of object natin or yung mga basic primitives natin. Literally, click and drag lang naman to. Click and drag lang tayo dito. Gusto natin, snap pa tayo kung gusto nyo. So, I'm just gonna do that. Oops, di ko makikita. Let me just cancel that. Cancel ko. Punta lang ako to wireframe mode para makita ko. And then, I'm going to... Oops. There we go. Click lang ako doon sa part na yon sa kung saan ko siya ilalagay. And then, I'm going to move it right here. Now, ito yung tedious part lang kay, kay 3ds Max. Definitely, you're gonna want to work at a specific na natin dito. Specific na orientation. And then, of course, moving things accordingly sa natin, no? You're definitely gonna want to snap things sa mga, sa model nyo dito, no? For something like this, ito masyadong ganito, no? So, already, it's a bit of a tedious part na. So, again, reset lang. Don't worry naman, reset naman tayo dito. So, for something like this, again, click ako sa dito. And then, turn off ko lang tong part ko dito. And then, I'm gonna somewhere around here. And then, gonna place it right here. Okay lang rin naman din naman kahit kung hindi rin naman siya, kung hindi rin naman siya perfectly straight, no? Kasi at the end of the day, maiiba rin naman yung yung mga tawag natin dito, yung orientation. So, there we go. Now, I set up my rig. Now, itong last part natin dito, gagawin na lang natin is we want to cancel this na. No? We want to cancel this out na. We're just going to click right. Right-click lang tayo doon. And then there we go. So, nagawa na yung thing natin dito. There's our control knob. Now, currently, it looks a little wonky, no? So, ayusin lang natin to. Madali naman siyang ayusin. A bit tedious, but it's okay naman, no? So, ayusin lang natin tong part. Oops, ayusin lang natin tong part natin dito. No, not that. Make sure na naka-disable na tong bones natin dito. And then, we're gonna do is gonna move lang natin siya dito somewhere around here. And then, snap na rin natin to para madali nating maayos, no? So, lagay natin siya dyan. And then, for this one, we're gonna move it dito. And then, last part is this one. Move natin siya somewhere around here. Okay, so, konting adjustment na lang to. It's a bit tedious a bit, no? But, I mean, for the most part, sanayan lang rin naman to. So, adjusting things lang tayo dyan. Adjust lang natin siya dito. And then, move lang natin siya a bit. Okay. Scale down natin to. Scale down natin yan. Let's say somewhere around here. And then for this one, scale up natin to a bit para makita natin. There we go. So, it works just like any other object naman, ano? So, what we're gonna do next is we're just going to align it na sa model natin, no? So, gagawin natin. There we go. Now, if you look at it, it's actually a bit different na nga natin dito. Because it's treated, itong mga bones natin dito, they're treated as like any other object, no? Unlike the sa Blender nga natin kanina, they're treated as data lang, no? They're not tangible objects, they're merely data. For this one right here, no? They're like objects na rin, ano? So, ang gawin na lang natin ngayon is we're going to skin this na, no? So, actually, ang question na lang siguro dito, bakit wala pa tayong control knob, no? Kasi, remember, sa Blender, we added the control knob. We actually have it already, which is this one right here, no? Automatic siya magge-generate palagi after we end a rig creation, after we end a rig creation na instance, no? So, there we go. That's a unique na little trick na binibigay ni 3ds Max. So, back to this one, we're gonna apply this thing na to our model, no? So, yung traditional na process muna natin, yung basic skinning, no? Actually, this is the only process lang dito sa, ano tawag dito sa, tawag dito sa 3ds Max. So, it's literally the only process, no? So, what we're gonna do is, select muna natin yung bone natin dito. Let's say it's going to be, oh wait, actually may kulang pa tayo dito, no? May kulang pa. So, this one right here, actually, masyadong, itong last part natin dito, medyo mali yung orientation ng things ko dito, no? So, for something like this, actually, you know what? It's a pretty quick process naman. Ulitin ko lang to, medyo na ako dito. Medyo na-irritate na ako sa itsura nito. So, I'm just gonna, instead of using snap tool, I'm just gonna manually do it na lang para mas madali. There we go. Okay, there we go. So, mas malinis tingnan instead sa ginawa ko pa kanina, no? So, there we go. It's pretty quick lang naman. So, I just redid that whole thing. And then, lagay ko na lang to dito. Center out ko na lang dito. There we go. So, what I'm gonna do next is skinning, no? So, first, select ko muna yung object natin dito. Now, ang ano natin dito, it's not like parenting, no? Because skinning sa 3ds Max, it's actually a modifier, no? So, we already have here a skin modifier, no? So, delete ko lang to and then redo lang natin, no? So, what I'm gonna do is click lang natin tong sa modifiers list. Select mo natin itong object, of course, and then go dito sa modify tab natin. And then, we're gonna go here sa ating modifiers list. And then, type in lang natin skin. And then, there we go. Click lang natin enter. And then, there we go. It adds our skin modifier. Now, we're gonna scroll down here, dito sa bones, no? So, it's pretty self-explanatory naman. We're just going to add our bones. Now, ito yung medyo tedious, slightly tedious part, no? Not unless you name something, no? So, click natin itong add and you'll see what I mean. Now, currently, if I try to open this, nandito lahat ng mga objects natin, no? So, isipin nyo lang na marami akong object dito, marami akong rig. Now, dito na papasok yung another tip na masasabi ko is to name your bones, no? Name your bones para hindi kayo malilito. Now, usually, but for this one, for this certain part right here naman, hindi naman super dami yung rig ko. It's literally this. Madali ko naman mahanap, no? So, it's there naman. And then, nandito rin naman yung search bar para ma-filter out nyo yung mga gusto nyong na pangalan, no? So, type nyo lang yung pangalan and nandito na. Makikita natin yan. Now, we're just going to assign our bone right here. Now, itong part natin dito, again, ito na yung kapag hindi nyo pinangalan yung mga bones nyo, that's a bit complicated na. That's a bit tedious na, no? But, madali ko naman mahanap to. Kasi alam ko, ito yung first instance ng bone ko, which is going to be bone 01, bone 02, and then bone 03. So, select ko lang tong si bone 003. And then, select natin yan. And then, there we go. So, when I try to move bone 003 na, when I try to move it, it's moving along dun sa natin, ano? It's moving along. And then, if I try to rotate it, yan, ginagalaw niya. So, gumagana siya. So, lagay naman natin dito. We're gonna be setting this bone next. I already have a skin modifier here, so that's good. So, add lang ako. Hanapin ko lang yung bone, which is going to be bone 002 naman. Oops. Bakit ganon? Ba't ka nagkaganon? Why are you like that? So, add natin to. Delete nga natin to. And then, redo ko lang to. Bakit nagkaganon yung thing? Add. Check natin si bone 002. Okay, there we go. So, but nagkaganon kanina because I tried to, I deleted yung, kinukuha pa niya siguro yung, previous bone data niya, yung ginaano ko lang dito, yung dinemo ko lang kanina. But there we go. Nung dinelete ko siya, siguro na maintain pa rin niya yung data doon. So, there we go. I just deleted that and then add my new skin modifier ulit. Then, there we go. If I try to move this, if this work. Okay, it works. Last part is this one. Delete ko rin to. Baka magkaroon ulit ng konting problema. Again, modifiers this. Type in skin. And then, last part natin dito is si bone 001. And there we go. No? So, yan na siya. So, let's try to move things. There we go. It's already moving accordingly. No? So, that's good already. No? That's really, really good na. No? Actually, for 3ds Max, it's actually really nice yung mga ano natin, yung mga basic na forward kinematic rigs lang naman. At 3ds Max works really, really well for it. No? So, yun ang marirecommend ko rin for 3ds Max. So, there we go. There's our first rig. No? Pwede na rin tayo mag-segue dito. No? Kasi, ang problem natin dito sa last part natin dito, we don't have the exact same function sa 3ds Max, sa Blender with the whole subdivide thing. No? I've been trying to find it, but unfortunately, it's not. No, so I'm going to I'm still gonna keep doing it. No, I'm gonna keep doing it, and then showcase ko rin yung ano natin, yung tawag dito, yung IK rig natin. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to be adding my where is it? Where's the thing? Wait, dito pala. Gizmos. Bones, and then add lang ako ng oops, not this one. Okay, wait, turn off ko muna tong previous bones ko para hindi siya hindi nadidetect niya, no? So turn off ko muna to, and then for this one, what is this? Okay, this one. Okay, so oops, it's going to keep generating the things, no? So, pwede kong try, I've been trying to find the way to, to do that, no? But, that's a bit tedious na, so I won't be doing that, no? I won't be doing that na siguro. That's a bit tedious na for me. So, diretso na lang tayo dito sa part natin dito, where you're going to be using an IK rig, no? So, because, like I said, nandito naman na yan, nandito na siya, nandito yung control knob naman natin, but, I think for the most part, for something organic as this, you pretty much get the whole concept naman na. So, you're gonna add multiple bones and then you're gonna add an IK rig, no? So, ganito naman sa IK rig natin kay 3ds Max, no? Yung basic IK rig natin. So, of course, select muna natin tong control knob natin dito, no? Control knob natin yan. And then, punta ngayon tayo dito sa animation. Dito sa menu bar, click on na animation. And then, select natin IK solvers. Click nyo lang tong HI solver. Itong HI, HD, and IK limb, they work a bit differently, but we're only gonna be using HI for this one. It's up to you na to play around with HD and IK limb. They're roughly the same naman. They're all going to be the exact same process naman, ano. So, select na muna natin itong si HI solver. Now, ito yung difference. Yung IK natin sa Blender, we're gonna be selecting this one, yeah? But for 3ds Max, we're gonna be selecting the first bone natin, yung pinaka main parent natin. Kasi doon siya doon mag-end yung thing natin eh. Or where you want this one, hanggang saan lang niya gustong i-control yung IK natin. So, first natin dito, try natin dito. Then there we go. So, ilagay ko lang siya doon and then there we go. Nag-create tayo ng bagong object which is this IK chain. So, when I try to move it, there we go. It's working like that, ano? But if I try to link it naman dito sa, let's say, sa part natin dito, so, IK solver, HI solver, click ko naman dito, hanggang dun lang yung, hanggang dun lang yung kinokontrol niya, no? So, basically, itong part natin dito, it's already locked in place, no? So, that's a neat little thing that you can do dito sa 3ds Max, no? So, select nyo lang tong IK chain, and then, there we go. And then, just like any other object, like I said, pwede nyong i-auto key yan, no? So, like, let's say, dito sa frame 20, gagalaw siya somewhere around here. And then, dito sa frame 30, gagalaw siya dito. Or maybe around here. So, there we go. So, it animates just like any other object. Alright? So, there we go. That is the whole rigging 101 for 3ds Max. So, there's really not much that we can do really naman dito sa natin 3ds Max because like I said, medyo ano to, medyo maganda lang 3ds Max, si 3ds Max for forward kinematics. Very accurate yung mga ano niya, yung paggawa niya ng ano, ng mga FK rigs. Pwede naman siya mag-organic, but that's a bit more tedious na for the most part, ano. For organics naman, because like I said, ito, IK chain lang naman yan, no? So, IK chain lang naman siya for the most part. For Blender though, however, for Blender, I guess, in a sense, Blender is really biased din minsan for organics, no? Kasi madali tayong kumuha ng mga organic rigs by using, yun nga, no? Yung subdivide nga natin, isa-subdivide natin yung bones, and then we're gonna be using an IK rig. But that's my personal opinion. It's going to be completely up to you what software you want to use for specific rigs. So, there we go. That is Module 10, or basic rigging.